This is going to be my final clip of the year. Power Play Chess is going to take a short seasonal break, and I thought I'd finish with something short and sweet, something nice and fun. It's another study, as I mentioned a couple of weeks ago. You know, I really like these endgame studies, particularly if they look as though they might have actually occurred in real play. This one was composed by Reti, Richard Reti, of course, great player in the 1920s. He composed this in 1928, and yeah, he was famous for his endgame studies. And of course, as a very, very strong over-the-board player, then they often had a practical quality to them. So, this position, it's white to play and win. You might like to take a look at this position and try to solve it before I take you through the solution. Let me just sort of outline what's going on. Obviously white is a rook and a bishop up, but black has these two pawns, and in particular the pawn on e2 is ready to make one more step towards the queening square, and at first glance it looks impossible for white to stop the pawn advancing, because you can see the rook simply can't get back. So white clearly has to do something rather special to win this position. Well, here you have to look at the forcing move. So as white, you would have to look at all the checks, basically. If you check down here, then this achieves nothing. The king can simply come up the board and attack the rook, and then the pawn queens. I mean, you can do this by process of elimination. In fact, of course, this is a very useful skill, a useful technique when you're calculating the process of elimination. So here, the first move is bishop check. So, I mean, the king has several options here. The most tenacious move is to play either king d8 or king d6. Let's play king d6. Well, what's changed? Well, pawn is still threatening to queen, but we have another check here. So let's check on d4. And now the king is forced to go to the e file. This was the whole point. So let's put the king back on e7. If king e5, then I'll check here, and after this, then we manage to pick up the pawn on e2. But the king goes back to e7. So far so good for white. Let's give another check, and again we just want to pick up this pawn and stop the other e-pawn queening. But here's the trick. We play king d8, and at this point things start to get a little tricky. This is not an easy defense to see. After rook takes pawn, the move we would like to play, black makes a queen, and when this is taken, it's stalemate. This is black's clever defense. So it's in this position that you have to find a really stunning move. I think many people in their calculations at the start would probably give up in this position, either assuming that white was winning or that black could make a draw. But here white can win, and this is the stunning move that does it. Very beautiful. First of all, if king takes bishop, then we take, and of course now there's no stalemate trick. The king is free to move and white wins. Okay, so what happens if we make a queen? Well, here's the trick. The bishop now drops back to b5, a quiet move. Now that covers white's king, so no more checks, no more decent checks from black's queen. And white threatens rook e8 mate, and there is no sensible defense. So that's basically it. Congratulations if you managed to solve that. I mean, it's interesting how it's only a few moves deep, and yet there are some extraordinary ideas there. Yeah, wonderful. I'm sure that I'll be showing you a few more studies by Reti in the future. So there we are. Thanks everyone for tuning into the Power Play Chess YouTube channel this year. If you don't subscribe, then please do. It's free to subscribe. Thank you once again for all those that have donated. That allows us to stagger on into next year. And next year is going to be very exciting. The next tournament, the next big tournament coming up is the Tartar Steel Chess Tournament 2015, starting the first round starts on January the 10th, and it will feature Magnus Carlsen, Fabiano Caruana, Levon Aronian, Wesley So, who else? Ding Liren, Ivanchuk, Ho Ifan, Maxime Vachier-Lagrave. I mean, it's a fantastic lineup, a 14-player, all-play-all, and I'll be reporting with clips, hopefully every day during the tournament. So thanks everyone for tuning in, and have a great new year.